Hello, Kurt. It's so nice to have you on the show today. How are you doing?
Hi, Elisha. Thanks for having me. I'm doing great. How are
Beautiful.
you?
I am doing quite fine, and thank you so very much for being here. You see, I truly appreciate you. Yeah,
Thanks for having me.
yeah, Kurt. And you see, Kurt, oftentimes I love to thank my guest for two things, and I do this so often to the point where it has become my anthem. So, firstly, Kurt, I want to say thank you so very much for investing in yourself. You see, my man, you are on this platform right now because you did invest it in yourself. And oftentimes, God, I love to make reference to the amazing mango tree. Let's say some couple of months back, I was on a particular road, and just by the roadside, Kurt, there was this very tall, unattractive mango tree. And I used the word unattractive
Wow.
because, yeah, because the mango tree's got no mangoes on it, and the leaves were all dry. So I just walked past it and I went my way. But you see, my man, just recently I was on that same road. And this time around, Kurt, a lot's changed about the mango tree. You see, the mango tree caught my attention pretty good from a distance. And immediately
hmm
I got the urge to move so close to it, of which I did. And it wowed me because now the mango tree's got a lot of mangoes on it, beautiful green leaves and healthy branches. Boy, not just mangoes now, Kurt. I'm talking about ripe mangoes. It was such a beautiful experience that day, and I was so excited. Here is my point: the fact that you dedicated your time, energy, and resources to becoming the amazing Kurt that you are today. That alone has made it impossible for me to skip you. And that's why you got the request from me to be on the show because I was attracted to the fruit of all that you're doing. Your philosophies,
Thank you.
yeah, your insights, the impact your work is having. And now you are offering your solutions, my man. This stuff's so beautiful. And just before I sent you that request card, I said to myself, I've got to benefit from these beautiful things God is doing. And not only me now, because, I don't want to look selfish, and even with the audience. And here we had a day with the amazing God. So thank you so very much for doing that yourself. And secondly, thank you for saying yes to the invite. Because if you had said nope, there was nothing Elisha could do about it. Thanks so much, my man.
Oh yeah, happy to be here.
Beautiful. So let's do it. You see, Kurt, I am quite excited to have you on the show today for some reasons. Firstly, my interest in knowledge seeking. I believe in order for one to transition from a terrible situation to that of a beautiful one, Kurt, I believe it takes the application of knowledge, quality information. And you see, my man,
hmm
not just knowledge alone, but the application of it. And you see, Kurt, ever since I discovered that light in the Hebrew means knowledge and darkness ignorance. I've been so keen to
hmm
knowledge seeking. Yeah, because I do not want to remain in the dark. So that's going to make our
hmm
conversation today very important to me and even to the listeners. And the second reason why I'm excited to have the incredible cut on the show is for the sake of the audience. You see, my man, we live in an age where information is as abundant as grains of sand. We've got a lot of information flying out there. So these folks trust me for quality, eye-opening, and very important information, of which I am totally convinced, my man, that our conversation is going to be insightful and impactful. So, for that reason, my man, let's get started with your introduction. Talk to us about your personal or your professional journey, because right now we are so curious. We want to know how Kurt got here. Then, afterwards, I've gotten some beautiful questions for you. Okay, Kurt, my man, over to
Okay.
you.
All right. Well, I got interested in music at a very young age. I played the accordion, I played the trumpet because that's what my parents made me do. But by the time I got to be 12 or 13, I heard some jazz and I heard some classical music. And when I did, it just lit me on fire. I just said, this is what I want to do. And so I started at that point practicing 3 or 4 hours a day. much to the chagrin sometimes of my mom and my family. Listening to someone practice all day is perhaps not all that pleasant, but I quickly got pretty good, and I quickly started playing professionally. And I played in different bands, and I did theater, I did musicals, I did other shows and gig scene, and so that became a professional musician, focusing mostly on piano at that time. And then I decided that I wanted to go to back to school, so I went and did a master's degree at the University of Northern Colorado in music. No, what was that in now? That was in music theory, and I did a doctorate in music composition at the University of Texas at Austin. So after that, I got a job at a couple of different universities, and I landed here just outside of Grand Rapids, Michigan, at Grand Valley State University 26 years ago. So that's what I've been doing.
Amazing. You see, the fact that at a very young age you knew what you wanted and you stick to it, you focus on it, and see where we are today. That's so beautiful. And to be sincere, I've always been very interested in understanding music because I feel like that stuff is so, I don't know which word to use for it. It's just so amazing. So
Yeah,
I've got some questions here for you. Are you ready for me?
I am.
All right.
Fire away.
Yeah, so let's just begin with this first one that I'm so curious about. So, what are patterns in music and how does the brain hear patterns in music?
Okay, so let me play something for you to
All
start off.
right.
I've got a little. So can you sing, Elisha?
Hmm,
Eh,
not really.
okay. I'm gonna play this little. It takes about 30 seconds, and then
Okay,
I'm gonna ask you to sing whatever note you think should come next.
okay.
Ready?
Let's ready. Let's go.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. What do I sing next there?
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Now it's blank. Can you try that again?
So sure.
Ooh. How do I get into that?
Okay, here comes your note.
Okay. Boy, I don't know how to come into that.
Well, here's the note,
Okay.
right? So
Yeah.
you're hearing this,
Yeah.
and your ear is telling you that's the next note,
Hmm.
right?
All right.
The reason it does that is because your ear is hearing the complicated patterns in
Yeah.
the between the sound waves,
Hmm.
and the ear can hear when the sound waves are in symmetry, when they're symmetrical.
Yeah.
So if I play this C and then I play a C up here,
Hmm.
the C up there, the string length is half of the length of the C down here. And your ear hears that. So it divides the string evenly. And the same thing
Wow.
when you go higher and higher. So
Wow.
your ear is hearing that twos, fours, eights, 16s
Same
are,
time.
are symmetrical.
Hmm.
And so when it hears that, it likes it because there's symmetry there. So we call that consonance. These notes sound good together, as opposed to, so that doesn't sound good together.
Right.
So the reason that doesn't sound good is because those two waves are asymmetrical. So they don't have any spots that line up like a 2, a 4, an 8, or a 16 or a 32 would. And the ear doesn't like that. The ear doesn't like the complicated asymmetrical pattern. So what it does when it hears a complicated pattern, it supplies the simple solution that's nearest to it by going down in pitch. So
Hmm.
that's what we did with that little exercise. I set up a
Wow.
complicated pattern, and then your brain immediately calculated, well, I think that's a 9 or that's an 11, and it immediately told your vocal cords to go down to that 8 or go down to that 10, go down to a multiple of 2 because that's a symmetrical pattern. So that's what's happening. That's kind of the engine in music that's driving it. And without that, we wouldn't have any storytelling in music because you wouldn't expect a note or not expect a note. So that's what composers are doing when they're writing music. They're giving you what you expect, but sometimes they're giving you something that you don't expect. Then it's a surprise because your ear is already filled in, your brain is already filled in what it thinks you want to hear. But then the composer could say, oh, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to surprise you instead. And then that allows the music to take you on a journey, even without lyrics.
Wow. Amazing. Now you just opened my eyes
It
to
is
something
amazing.
beautiful. I never knew all of this. You see? Amazing. Wow. Okay. So, yeah, go on, please. You wanted to say something.
Yeah, it's just fascinating why we would have that ability to do that, right? Why does the ear hear a 13 and say, no, I
Yeah,
want the 12? Or why does it hear the 11 and say, no, move that down to 10, right? So the 11 is the amen at the end of a hymn. That's 11 going down to 10. So that's
down to
this.
10. Hmm.
And the reason that you want to hear the 10 is
Yeah.
because it's at an 11, and that is the complex waveform. The 10, now everything's in symmetry, and you feel at peace. You feel like, oh, yes. But really, what's going on is your brain is doing mathematical computation automatically without
Wow. Automatically. That's really
automatically.
fascinating. Okay, okay,
It really is.
okay. What about this one? If you could test music's origins, what experiment would you design? Like testing the origin
Well,
of music.
I've thought about that a lot and I've read a lot about it. And they've done all kinds of things all kinds of tests and studies to try and figure out, how did we get this faculty? Because you can you can imagine, okay, we have a voice and we can hear. That seems very tied to survival. If you couldn't speak, if you couldn't hear, the animals, you wouldn't hear the animals coming and they'd eat you. So what is it? So that makes sense. But why do we have this skill? Why do we hear the asymmetrical and we don't like it and we want it to resolve to pitches that are in symmetry? That's a very strange notion. I've heard some definitions or some explanations for it, but I just really don't. I haven't heard anything that I've found really compelling.
I got that.
And I know what you would. I couldn't come up with something to try and say, well, how would we prove
I
this, or
tell you, it's
what is
quite
this for?
mysterious. Yeah, so strange.
It's absolute. Yeah, it's absolutely strange.
And I tell you, you are doing a fantastic one. You see, you just explained the first one. You explained it in such a way that you made it quite easy to understand, and that's a beautiful one. So let us talk about why Christmas music is so jazzy. Why is that?
Yeah, yeah. So this is a question that I've had students ask me over the years, and I always gave them short answers in the classroom, but I thought I'm going to write an article about it and just really dig in deep. So the reason a lot of Christmas music, especially the modern stuff, right, has a jazzy flavor to it is because I'll take a little bit of history. So a lot of the Broadway music in the 20s, 30s, and 40s became the template for jazz musicians who played songs from Broadway. Those Broadway tunes were largely written by composers who were ex Tin Pan Alley. A lot of them were Russian Jewish immigrants who were well steeped in the classical music tradition, and they started writing for not only Tin Pan Alley but also for Broadway. So you have really schooled and talented composers who are writing beautiful songs with great harmony for the Broadway songbook. Jazz musicians kind of borrow from that. And at the time when all this music was written, that's that's who was writing it, right? These same Broadway composers were writing the music for a lot of the Christmas music. So the fact that the jazz musicians used the Broadway songbook for their music, and the people that were writing the Christmas music were also accessing those jazz players. You put that together, and it just all of that music is kind of Broadway music, but it also is very jazzy because jazz musicians claimed that Broadway songbook and made it their own.
I got that. I got that. Just like what the Romans did with the Greeks' ideology. I got that. Okay,
There you go. There you go.
so
Yeah.
there's this fantastic image I have right here, and like I said earlier, these stuffs are just pretty fascinating, and you did send it to me. It says example one. harmonic series on C with the first 16 partials. Can we talk about that?
Yeah,
Because you look pretty confusing
sure.
right now.
Well, so do you want to hold it up so the people can see it,
Oh, I just got it on
or
my
will it
phone.
not show?
But don't worry, I'll try to
Okay,
upload it.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. So basically, it's a simple concept. It looks a little bit complicated, but every sound that you hear is governed by that harmonic series. So if I play the low C, I'm not just playing that pitch. That pitch is made up. Yeah, you probably have to get it on a paper or something. Yeah, so that C, you see all the notes above the low C?
Yeah, yeah.
Those notes are all in that note C. It's kind of like a soup.
Hmm.
So let's say that the main ingredient is that low C, but it has a bunch of other ingredients above it that make it sound like C. So for example, trombones, you know what trombones sound like. They're so rich and thick, beautiful sound. When they play a C or when they play any note, they emphasize the odd numbered pitches in that series. When
Hmm.
flutes play a note, they emphasize more the even numbers, and that's why they sound different. So every sound that you make in the world is governed by that harmonic series. So no matter what sound it is, it's got its main pitch that you hear, but it also has a bunch of other ingredients like a good soup. So you'd say, well, hey, I'm making some lentil soup. Okay, lentils are the main ingredient, but there's also carrots in it. There's also onions in it. There's garlic in it, and that's what makes the flavor. So the harmonic series is exactly that. It depends which of those pitches in the series are emphasized. That's what governs what that's why a trombone sounds like a trombone.
Hmm. Amazing. So what about example
Yeah,
two? The symmetry in the waveforms of four C's. We've got C's again.
yeah. So look at each one of those when you add. So each one of those is a C, and they're kind of sounding simultaneously. Do you see the beautiful pattern in all of them?
Yeah, yeah, that's right.
It's sort of, it looks almost like a flower, right?
Yeah,
They're so symmetrical. Now look at
very
the last
symmetrical.
example. Now look at the last one.
Okay,
And
yeah,
you see the symmetry of the C's, but you also see something that's cutting it up. It's no longer symmetrical.
yeah.
So that's a dissonance. That's what your brain is recognizing when it hears C's playing at the same time. It's saying, oh, those are symmetrical, right? And that number system, so the 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, that's at the heart of our computer system as well. That's what's running this conversation we're having. It's called the binary series.
Wow.
Also, what happens at the beginning of life when a sperm meets the egg. Now there's one cell. Now that cell divides into two, and those two divide into four, and the four divide into eight, and so on. So here we have an example of the binary series functioning in music like that. It's also at the heart of what makes our computers run, and it's what happened with us as our cells divided when we.
Amazing.
Amazing, right?
I tell you,
Yeah.
this sounds like having a music class, and it's really easy to understand.
Good.
Thank
I'm glad to
you.
hear that.
I tell
I've
you.
kind of tried to do that in my writings, is try to
Ah, no.
bring topics that are maybe a little complicated, but to bring them to my students who aren't musicians and aren't experts in music, and have them understand it. So I'm glad to hear that
I tell you.
it comes across like that.
Yeah, thank you for the beautiful stuff you're doing. So finally, all right, how do you help your student, and who are your student, or who should I say, who are your client, and how do you help people with music?
Well, I mean, I'm really passionate about it, and I think that's infectious. You know, when you really love the subject, it it it's easier to get other people into it. So I try to just bring that passion to my classroom every day. And I think students respond to that. They know that I'm into it. It's not just a job. It's not just something I have to do. This is my life. You know, this is what I devoted my life to. And I think when you do that and you do that authentically, you bring something, you leave a little bit of yourself in your students. A little bit of that passion kind of, they get some of that. And so that's really what I try to do is show my passion for it and hope that they learn something about the music that they're listening to, so they have a deeper understanding of it, but also that they see that passion and say, yeah, it's okay to be excited. It's good to be passionate about music or about any subject. So that's kind of what I try to do.
And that's a smart way. I love that. That's a beautiful one. So to bring this to an end, my man, what would you like to leave the audience with, like a final thought? And to those folks who like to
Well,
reach out to you, yeah, let more about the wonderful stuff you're doing, or maybe they need your assistance, your services, or your resources. How can that be possible?
yeah. Well, my website is my name, kurtellenberger.com. So that's KurtEllenberger.com. So there's email contact there. I have all of my music, the music that I've composed. There's a lot of me performing on piano as well. So I would say reach out there. And yeah, I love to talk about music, and I love to talk with people that are interested in music and that love music as well. Just thanks for having me. This topic to me is just endlessly fascinating. I just love to see, I love to share it with people, and I love to see, like I saw your reaction was like, wow, I had no idea that this is how it works. So thanks for letting me share my passion with you.
Beautiful, my man, and you're doing such a fantastic job, I tell you. Thank you so very much. So,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you.
can you repeat your website again?
Yeah, the website is my name, which is KurtEllenberger.com. So there you can find my writings. You can also go to All About Jazz, where I do a lot of writing. If you want more information, I have an article about some of the things we discussed today, or several articles actually. So if you want to go in further in depth there, go to All About Jazz and look for me, and you'll find 20 or 30 or whatever many articles are there.
Beautiful. Thank you so very much, Kurt. So that's going to be the end of the show. Thank you for coming and thank you for sharing this wonderful stuff with us. It means a whole lot, my man. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Beautiful, Kurt. That was a beautiful
Cool,
one.
man. That was fun.